All of us have the ability to be leaders. Everyone has the potential to become a leader. What makes a leader? The first and foremost is the vision. Leaders have dreams, and those dreams are beyond the self. So my great inspiration is the great Iqbal. And he came up with this concept of a leader. He used the symbol of Shaheen, the eagle. And why did the eagle soar above everyone else, which is what makes a leader? Because the Shaheen, the eagle, broke away the chains that keep us grounded. So what stops us from achieving this great God-given potential are the various chains that make us tread the trodden path. Difference is not talent, difference is not education. Difference is that a leader dreams what others are scared to dream of. Dream the impossible. Every one of us, we are basically all ordinary people, but yet we are also extraordinary. The problem with human beings is that they put limits on their own potential. All of us have, in my opinion, limitless potential. But the limits are put on our own potential by ourselves. The people who become these extraordinary people are those who think big, have great dreams. There were much more talented cricketers than me. When I was growing up, my school which I went to was a school for privileged children in the society. And in that, I excelled in my school. But when I actually got out of the school to play cricket, for instance, for my city, I discovered that the children coming from the poorer backgrounds had much greater hunger and drive. Although in my school we had the best coaching and the best teachers and the best cricketing facilities and the grounds and the wickets, we could not compete with these boys coming from the streets because their hunger and drive was much more. I discovered that these boys were much hungrier than me for success, but they were far more talented. But the reason I succeeded, I had bigger dreams than them. When I was 18, I played for my country. Wasn't very good. I was dropped after my first test match. Everyone thought that was the end of my career. But the reason I came back was because the first time I got dropped, I tried to analyze my weaknesses. First time I played in England and I saw these other great cricketers. And I realized that the bowling action God had, my natural bowling action, which was endowed with, was restricting me from reaching my ambition, which was at that time to become the best fast bowler. From then onwards, rather than be limited by my natural bowling action, I decided to change it to reach my ambition. Now this is, very important for you to understand this. It's important to know your limitations. People who don't know your limitations are not successful. That all your life you will be told that this cannot be done. Do not accept this. Because this is where, when you compromise on your mission or your ambition, that's where the downward slide starts. But it is also important never to be restricted by your limitations. Never accept them. Always try to expand those limitations. If anything, always upgrade your ambition, but never downgrade it. Never accept anything less than what you aim for. And when you keep struggling to go up, this is where your inner strength comes in. We all have great potential. But it's only when you pit yourself against challenges that you begin discovering this potential in you. It's important to have that self-belief, and I was very fortunate that, and it doesn't come from day one. You develop it. You condition yourself. You believe in yourself. You never think of losing. You go into a match and you always have positive thoughts. And remember, the team never ever listens to what you say. They look at your body language. The more you put your mind to pressure, challenges, the stronger it becomes. The great verse by one of our greatest poets, which says something like, "Oh hawk, don't be scared of these gusts of wind that hit you. They are meant to make you fly higher." Obviously, the bigger challenges you have, the more resistance you'll have. But never be scared of that. Because when you pit yourself against resistance, you get stronger. Now that ambition must take precedence over everything else. You should be able to, if you cannot for any reason, any impediment in that way of your ambition, you must be able to, whatever it takes, you should be able to sacrifice for that. Do not let anything get in the way of your ambition. Compromise for your vision, but never compromise on your vision. When I decided to build the cancer hospital, I had no idea what it meant. It was just a passion that, look, I had to do something. For 4 years, I tried to find out how to build this hospital. I had no idea. I called up a meeting of some of the top doctors in Lahore, and I remember these 20 doctors who sat there, 19 of them said that you cannot build a cancer hospital in Pakistan. One of them said that yes, it can be built, it's badly needed, but there is no possibility of you treating poor patients free because the running cost of a cancer hospital are extremely high anyway, and then cancer treatment is the most expensive treatment, so that your hospital will just close down. Not deterred by that, I started my campaign to build the hospital. I was also at the peak of my cricketing career, and I only played the World Cup because I thought that if we won the World Cup, we would have people giving money for the hospital. My ambition was that this would be a hospital where majority of the cancer patients would be treated free. I would have given up cricket 2 years earlier, but because my passion in cricket had gone by now. But the Board of Governors told me that, look, if you leave cricket, no one is going to give money to the hospital. Here is this chief executive professional telling us that if you do that, the hospital will be closed in a few months. Again, and this is again, you will always have these dilemmas all your life. When you have these great ambitions and vision, you will always come across these things. Now what do? Never, ever compromise on your vision. The moment you do that, if I had agreed with him there, I can guarantee you that the hospital would have been closed in 6 months anyway. He needed $4 million to open the hospital. By this time, I had run out of donors. People were sick of me because I had hit the same people over and over again. Whenever they used to look at my face, they would hide. I would go to the offices, they would say, don't tell him we are not in, and so on. And so I was stuck. I needed $4 million to open the hospital. So what I decided to do was to start from the north of Pakistan. In 6 weeks, I toured 29 cities in the country. I went into this open van, had a huge collection box there. 29 cities, I traveled from one city to the other. In fact, instead of 4 million, I collected $5 million. But what had happened was that it changed me. I began to realize that the people with money, bank balance has nothing to do with generosity. The common people who actually had nothing gave a large proportion of their money to the hospital. You know, people with nothing, people, vendors, tea boys, the driver who was driving me, they'd take money out and put it in the box. I would be watching, when I would be going into a street, I would announce that I'm coming in these areas to collect money. So as the van would come, I would be watching people. The moment they would see it, they just put their hand in their pocket. Whatever they had, they would put it in the box. So I realized that the problem with my country was not the common people, the masses. The problem was the elite. So I decided to form my political party called Movement for Justice. The objectives were very straightforward: to have the rule of law in the country, where the weak and the powerful were equal in the eyes of law. The reason why the third world is third world is because we have very poor rule of law. Our elites can do whatever they want and they get away with it, and the common man, the small and medium industry, they are all deprived of justice. You see, credibility is the key to leadership. If you want people to follow you, you have to be credible. If you lose your credibility, you can never ever become a leader. The key to leadership is the ability to command people's respect. The most important thing why people do not achieve their ambition is the fear of failure. People are petrified of failure. Why don't they try something? They're scared that they'll fail. Why don't they try something? Because people will laugh at them. This is another big thing. People are petrified that, what will other people say? Never ever be worried about what people say. It is the biggest trap. It is the biggest prison. Be extraordinary. You must be prepared to take risks, take challenges. And remember, failure is the greatest teacher ever. It teaches you more than winning. When you win, there's a lot of backslapping going on and you just forget that the mistakes you've made. But when you lose, your mistakes stare you in the face. You have to come to terms with it. Crisis is at times the best thing that can happen to you. It teaches you. You learn from it. But you must have the ability to analyze it. You must have the ability to analyze your failure. Now this is the catch. Sometimes when people fail, they lose self-confidence. They are overcritical. Even their good points are sort of washed away because they just lose self-belief. The danger is that you can get demoralized and lose all self-belief when you fail. But if you can put things in perspective and analyze your failure properly, and then work at it, you come back always much stronger. So when you're scared of failure, you just don't know how to win. You lose that killer instinct. Because they're completely different approaches. If you go into anything, into a venture, into a cricket match, worrying about failure, as a captain, your team selection will be defensive. If you go into a match thinking I'm going to win, you will have a totally different team selection. Because in one case, when you're scared of failure, you will go on the defense, or even before you entered the match. So you will have a defensive lineup. In the other, you will go in an attacking lineup. Completely different. The attitude is different. In one, you will be on the defensive, so you will miss out on the opportunities that present themselves. And on the other, you will develop that killer instinct. The moment that opportunity comes, you'll grab it.